Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday, September 9th, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We just had an equilibrium on the S&P 500 play out for a couple hours, and it's breaking bullish. And that is telling us to zoom out and look for an hourly lower high to be set. Anything under the high of today is an hourly lower high. So daily consolidation is underway for the S&P 500, and losing the hourly uptrend today was the indication of that. This is the rising wedge that I drew first thing, and look at the back test and rejection perfectly off of that support level. So that's no longer in play. And now we're just watching the hourly downtrend. So if we just form a lower high, we're going to be watching to see how much pullback we get on the daily time frame before we get an hourly trend change indicating that a daily higher low is being established. So watching hourly oversold conditions as well. If we pull back again tomorrow with another red day and break the low of today, hourly oversold conditions will be on watch for the potential of a daily higher low forming under those hourly oversold conditions. So a little bit of bullish momentum here into the end of the day. We'll see what the bulls can do with it, and could potentially close higher than Friday and be green, as we are right at break even right now. Dollar, still not doing anything notable. Daily inside bar, triple top of resistance to be watching. 4-hour trend has to change for the bulls, which they are struggling to do. Gold had a big drop today on the daily time frame. So following through, 1492 is the most important support level from here. Still just looking for a weekly higher low to form. The precious metals themselves have much more space to work with to form that weekly higher low than the bull miners do. So gold, still very healthy, longer term, bigger picture. And just looking for that daily higher low. 4-hour RSI getting close to oversold. Not there just yet. And looking down at the low of 1497. Silver, also a 4-hour equilibrium. So at this point, silver is close to a bear break. But we have our high of the bounce, low, double top, higher low, lower high. And heading down towards support, 1794 and 1790 are two short-term support levels to be watching that are about to be tested. Oil breaking out today in a big way. So this is the highest price that oil has seen in about 5-6 weeks. And the bulls have full control. The 4-hour time frame, our last higher low was 56.58. And now we're zooming out and looking at 58.79 and then 60.91 as the only short-term resistance levels nearby. And we're watching, is this our bull break of the weekly equilibrium? You could have acted on 57.43 being a key level. More conservative are going to wait for 60.91 because if we form a lower high compared to that level, it's certainly still within a tightening range. Nat gas bulls still have full control, watching for the potential of a volume climax soon. Nat gas USD has the highest volume that it's seen in a very long time. And we're up at the high of the day. No sign of weakness. Next time we consolidate, we will just be looking for a 4-hour higher low to form. And the bulls are in complete control. We have not seen a daily higher low form since 212. So getting overextended, but no sign of weakness at this point. Bitcoin trying to form a 4-hour higher low. No confidence yet in that forming. The bulls have to get over 15-minute exponential resistance to try and see that 4-hour higher low set. And patiently watching this tightening range between the low of today, the high of the 4-hour bounce, and now watching to see can the bulls pull off that 4-hour higher low. So we'll see if SPY is able to close green. That's the battle going on here at the end of the day. And looks like we have a good number of tickers here. So starting off with work, we're at all-time lows today. A little bit of a bounce taking place. Anything on the hourly time frame under 27.65 is just a lower high. Have to change the hourly trend for us to zoom out and look for a daily bounce to try and get going. But at this point, this hourly bounce is not doing a whole lot to prove anything to us because anything under the high of today is just a lower high. So bulls would have to see some bounce to create space, hold the low of today, and then break the high of the bounce into tomorrow for any kind of trend change on the hourly. T was all profit taking today from the gap up open. So we were watching short-term levels and we never got that higher low. There was just absolutely no strength. At least there were no fake outs here. where we have the 5-minute downtrend pre-market. The bell rang. High of the day is a lower high, higher low, lower high, bear break. And then it was just a 5-minute downtrend all for the rest of the morning. And then in the afternoon, we saw a break of resistance, but again, no 5-minute trend change, no higher low and higher high. So it has not had a 5-minute uptrend at any point since our high of pre-market. So tons of profit taking into the gap fill. The gap would fill at 36.37. And I would expect an hourly or 4-hour support level to be established in the near term, but there's no sign of it at this point. One big, long, slow fade. CRWD, weak bounce attempt here at the end of the day. Bears in complete control. Bear break on Friday, getting a ton of follow through today. So the next levels that we're looking down at, 61.72 and 61.17. And again, potential bottom fishing play off of the all-time lows, especially with the daily RSI about to be oversold for the first time. And then the bulls would hope for a bounce and then a weekly lower high. But first things first, have to change the hourly trend for the bulls, have to change the daily trend for the bulls in order to be looking for that weekly equilibrium to try and play out. GDX. So daily uptrend has been lost, and now we're looking at the weekly uptrend. Our last little higher low was 27.61, which is in play now. And if we lose that level, we lose the weekly uptrend. So it is a significant 3-day pullback. 27.61 was tested today and held by 2 pennies. So that's a double bottom. Hourly chart is still a very clear downtrend. Bulls would have to hold 27.61 and break 28.34 to change this hourly trend. So Netflix, tons of profit taking this morning, but bulls are buying some of this dip here at the end of the day. It's all about the daily 12-period exponential resistance, which continues to reject the price, and we are still struggling at that level with all this profit taking today. I would expect just an hourly equilibrium. Bull move, high of today, low of 290.60, and we're looking for a lower high compared to 301.55, and for an hourly tightening range. So already did natural gas. Bulls are in full control, and even when we do pull back, we're just going to be looking for a 4-hour higher low to form. Bulls still in full control. I would consider anything over 240 as a 4-hour higher low. Definitely a fake out in regards to Amazon's bull break. And this is the kind of scenario where the correlation to the overall market is certainly important. Amazon looked great this morning, but if SPY and the tech sector are going to pull back all day, it's going to be really hard for those bulls to keep up that strength. So I would say it's definitely a red flag, the size of the pullback. We lost the hourly uptrend after that bull break. And at this point, we're now zooming out just like on SPY, and we're looking for a daily higher low to form. If the bulls can backtest and hold these exponential moving averages and not pull back further than that, that would be very healthy consolidation to try and see another leg up where there's a lack of resistance. But as far as the short-term action today, bull break and no follow through. As soon as we hit the low of the day after that bull break, all kinds of red flags to lose that momentum. And if we just compare it on the 5-minute time frame, weakness started at about 11:30. And if we look at QQQ, this is 11:30. So QQQ had an all-out dump that definitely picked up correlation to Amazon and ruined that breakout, making it a fake out. IIPR bulls showing up today, but just a daily inside bar. We need to change the hourly trend. So I'm looking at the high of yesterday, the low of yesterday, looking for a lower high to be set compared to 90.32, and then I'll look for a pullback and a higher low compared to 82.15. So the most likely scenario in this range, in my opinion, is something along those lines. Question is, have we topped out yet? And it looks like we're going to end today without enough information to determine whether we have or not. Keeping in mind that when we change the hourly trend, we zoom out to the daily, and we're just looking for a daily lower high to form. And also keeping in mind that the potential for Congress to be going over the SAFE Act could be bearish for IIPR. So snap with a big bear day after a solid bull day. Look at that double top. 1664, we rejected by a penny, and then everybody ran to the exit. 1503 is key short-term support. And after 1503, we don't have a lot of clear levels. 1493 as a gap is the next level after that. Hourly bounce, not really even developed at this point. The 15-minute chart is clear lower highs still in play. So no sign of any kind of meaningful bounce at this point. And 1503 will be potentially on the table to be watching as key support tomorrow. So MedMen's in tight equilibrium. Bulls have to see a break of 273 and bears have to see a break of 251. And we're pretty much right in the middle of that range. And I just read a tweet that the pending deal that the Department of Justice has to approve has reached its 30-day deadline, so potential that we're going to see some information in a press release tomorrow morning updating what the situation is with that. ACB has earnings Wednesday after hours. Profit-taking day today with the sector. Have we lost the hourly uptrend? I would say yes. This bounce, anything under 627 is just an hourly lower high on this bounce. So support will be 589, and the bulls will have to hold a higher low compared to 543. This is just a weekly lower high forming, as is the case for so many of the major Canadian MJ names. Their shifts in momentum are not doing anything to the weekly time frame at this point, which is why the bulls are hoping for just a couple days pullback to start this week, and then some continuation. CGC. So CGC, again, the weekly time frame, we're just looking for a lower high to be set. What is this daily consolidation going to look like is a big question mark. Low bear volume's a good sign so far. If we break the low of today, tomorrow, clear daily pullback is underway. The bulls must hold 2320, form that higher low, the sooner the better, and then see continuation. If we do not see consolidation into continuation the second half of this week, it is absolutely a red flag on this bounce. We are still very skeptical of bulls in this space. And I need CGC to give me a clear daily higher low and higher high follow through if I'm going to be a believer in these bulls. IN, anything under 45 is just a lower high. And if we reject from that level and lose the hourly uptrend, then an equilibrium is the most likely. So 45 down to 34, looking for a lower high compared to 45, and then we'll look for a higher low compared to 34. And looking at it on the 4-hour time frame, a little bit more detail. And you could also say the 4-hour chart is potentially setting up for a head and shoulders. If we came back down and broke 34 and 33, that would confirm the bear break. But in my opinion, the bounce is significant enough that I would be looking for a higher low compared to 34. That being said, it is a penny stock, and a little bit of volume goes a long way. AMAG trying for a bull flag on the daily time frame, and it is a potential cup and handle. So the daily inside bar wants to break bullish tomorrow over 1192 to confirm it, and then it's just 1234 that has to break for follow through. At the moment, it is textbook cup and handle. I would say if we break 1150 from here, that will no longer be the case. So that's the most important support level. So you guys, your stop loss level is not going to be hit in extended hours. Just be aware of that. But it depends on your entry point and it depends on your time frame for the trade. If you've been in for a while, I would be using the 4-hour uptrend as a guide knowing that I would have to sit through 4-hour consolidation to find the next higher low, because we are likely to form a higher low next time we pull back, because anything over $17 is a 4-hour higher low. The hourly chart is still in a very clear uptrend. Anything above 1940 is an hourly higher low. So I would determine a time frame that I'm watching the trend on, and then I would determine which time frame breaking its uptrend would be my exit signal. Again, keeping in mind that if it happens in extended hours, which there's less risk of tonight because the bulls have so much space to work with, but it's entirely possible that bear breaks can happen overnight, which would not stop you out of UGAS. BZUN. So unable to break 50.63, lower high compared to that level. If we see a bear break of 47.66 tomorrow, it's all about 44.28 as our daily higher low. And I would say if we start to pull back significantly or see some solid bear volume down towards 46, we'd be watching for the equilibrium on the daily. So bulls just looking for a daily higher low compared to 44.28 to keep the uptrend in their favor. Now you pretty much have a low, high, double bottom, lower high. Question is, how much pullback are we going to see? Can it favor continuation after a brief pullback, or is it going to pull back more significantly to give us the equilibrium? So JPM, big bull move, huge bull move, 117.24. We're close to the highest price that we've seen in 11 months. That is notable. So again, we're watching the potential of the head and shoulders. It's a lot less likely at this point, but the financial sector bulls as a whole want to start seeing individual names take out their highs. If we can see JPM break 117.24, it will be notable for the financial sector as a whole. That being said, we're very overextended, so there is the potential of a top fishing play with that resistance level, especially if we were to test it tomorrow, being that extended. The 4-hour RSI is up at 80 on JPM. And if you look back historically, we certainly don't stay with 4-hour RSI at that level very long at all. So still holding on, but a key resistance test may be in play tomorrow. TNDM with an all-out dump. Still down at the lows. So bulls have to hold weekly support of 56.69. That's the most important support level to me. But there is no sign of a bounce here. 4-hour on down is crushed as far as RSI levels go. We saw a weak bounce attempt. Anything under 63.24 is just a lower high. We did break the low of the day with no follow through so far, but we are setting up to close near the low of the day, which certainly favors the bears. So no sign of a bounce at this point. VFF profit taking on the gap up open for news. Hourly chart. Could say we've lost the uptrend. And we're looking for a daily higher low to form compared to 10.18. And the weekly time frame, we were anticipating a likely lower high compared to 14.60. Question is, has that lower high been set already? And again, we don't have a clear trend change that I want to see in these names. We have this little dinky weak trend change, which is present on CGC and VFF and Cron. I want to see a clear multiple day pullback and a clear continuation move on increasing bull volume. That would be ideal scenario for the bulls this week. And I'm just not entirely confident that we're going to see it. But we'll keep monitoring day by day what this consolidation looks like to know what is most likely bigger picture on these daily time frames after the move from last week. VGW.V. Real tight range, resistance of 356 was unable to break. It's a double top. So daily inside bar today, if it breaks bearish, key support is 314. And if it breaks bullish, we have a clear daily trend change. And we'll then be looking up at 397 or 379 from there. So all about the inside bar and the double top into tomorrow. Shop with a dump today. Daily downtrend confirmed. Lower high was set on Friday, and we dropped to the lower low today, which means consolidation on the weekly is underway. Weekly exponential support has been holding for about 8 months. And anything on the weekly chart above 310 is a higher low. So the bulls still have plenty of space to hold the weekly uptrend. Hourly chart, bounce here at the end of the day. We're just looking for a lower high to be set compared to 369. Have to change the hourly trend. If we do, we'll zoom out to the daily and we'll look for a daily lower high to be set. But still very much so in a weekly uptrend, and there's no major red flags. Aside from volume for the bears, there's no major red flags on this chart. And we'll see if the bulls can continue to close over the weekly 12-period exponential support. APHA, so we're down at the low of the day. And there's not enough time left for a bottom fishing play, because even if 675 holds, we're not going to have time for that to play out. 675, 670, 665, all support levels. Bulls have to form a daily higher low compared to 614. I exited all of my position today. So entered in the 630s, exited at 699. And I will be interested in looking for a daily higher low re-entry under the right conditions. But we're closing near the low of the day. So the bears still have short-term controls. OH. Very healthy daily consolidation. That's a potential daily bull flag. And you could tell just watching OH trade today comparative to the other names in the sector that it was holding on better. That being said, it also had a weaker pullback on Friday, but almost getting consolidation out of the way. And if these bulls can change this hourly trend into tomorrow with a higher low and higher high, we'll be looking right back up at 837 and the potential of a daily bull flag, which obviously would be best case scenario for the bulls. If we break the low of today, then that's going to throw the bull flag out the window, in my opinion. UNT short-term key resistance of 334 is a double top. So rejecting from resistance, short-term hourly support is 317. If we lose 317 after that double top, it's a red flag for bulls. If we keep 317 support, then the hourly uptrend remains intact. So key resistance test looks to be coming again tomorrow. Gush. Gush up at the high of the day. Breaking out on the daily chart. Higher lows and higher highs continuing. And again, it's a leveraged ETF, so hard to determine resistance levels, but 4 psychological. And then looking up at 454 is the next level after that. As far as the hourly chart goes, no clear higher low established today. If I had to pick a support, it would be 380, but I don't consider that a clear pivot point for an hourly higher low to be found. But a nice strong close at the high of the day. We'll see how long natural gas and oil bulls can keep this strength up in unison. NIO is up at the high of the day. So it's all about 327 for NIO. And again, if we can't break that level, we'll look for a daily higher low and a right shoulder for the inverse head and shoulders. All about 327 resistance, and short-term support is 305. Labs. So I don't count labs. 485 as a daily higher low. I don't see. Oh, there it is. So yeah, that's our key. That's really the next support level to be watching. but I wouldn't call it a daily high or low. No, to answer your question, I was on the wrong time frame. So no, it's just not clear enough. Is it a support level with nothing else nearby? Yes, absolutely. But I need to see clear pivots, and that is just a little stutter step of consolidation. That's not a clear, this would be a clear pullback. So just one little day, just barely breaking the low of the previous day by 2 pennies. Not enough for a daily high or low for me. We're looking for that daily high or low now compared to 426. CRK in huge breakout mode, increasing bull volume is a good sign. Last hourly high or low is the low of today. Short-term support is 890, but anything above 828 is an hourly high or low. 998 is the next resistance level. Just want to be cautious. This is very overdone at this point. Still keeping the uptrend in their favor for the bulls, but we've gone almost 70-80% in just 5 days. So NUGT has lost the weekly uptrend, which is certainly notable. We will be looking for a bounce and for a daily lower high to be set sooner rather than later. But at this point, the hourly downtrend is very clear. The bulls would have to hold 31.59 and break 34.18 to change the hourly trend. But the more we pull back in just a straight drop, the more I'm going to like scouting for that bounce and daily lower high to form. So NUGT and bull miners will be on watch again tomorrow. It depends on where the precious metals stand after trading overnight. But definitely watching for an hourly trend change back to the bulls. So Netflix bulls trying to follow through with that hourly equilibrium. Watching for an hourly lower high. Our OKU, hourly inside bar, bears in full control though, bearish engulfing candlestick, big shift in momentum. When we do bounce, we're just looking for an hourly lower high compared to 176.55. And that certainly looks like a temporary top candlestick. Daily break. This is that pattern of a higher low every single day for 14 days. And that broke bearish at 164.85. And now we're scouting a daily higher low. And anything above 127 is a daily higher low. So the daily uptrend is not in jeopardy, but it's a very clear shift that consolidation is now currently underway. And there's a gap at 157.22 if this pullback continues into tomorrow. So Cron with a big pullback on the daily. Again, the bulls are not proving it to us. We have to hold 1058 and break 1241 this week. And obviously Cron had some bad news today, which is going to make that even harder. But this is just a weekly lower high, and it's a potential weekly bear flag. So to give back the move this significantly, not a good sign. Bulls are going to have to surprise us with a higher low and higher high. Otherwise, the weekly bear flag is the most likely scenario. BK breaking out. 46.11, next resistance on the daily. Hourly chart, we established short-term support at 45.14, but I wouldn't really call that an hourly higher low yet. So next time we pull back, we will look for an hourly higher low to form. Financial sector is on fire. That daily trend change really lit the spark behind these bulls in the sector. And we'll see if the bulls can get over 46.11 tomorrow. AWK 122.24 support breaking, so the daily uptrend being lost. Weekly chart, anything over 113.18 is a weekly higher low. Hourly chart, anything under the high of today is an hourly lower high, so no bounce even trying to get going right now at the end of the day. Hourly RSI will be oversold tomorrow if we break the low of today. Next support level is down at 120.65. So I would expect because of the severity of this drop, I would be keeping an eye out for the potential of a bounce. But there's no sign of it at this point. VII.to. Big upper wick of profit taking, bearish reversal candlestick on the daily. Weekly trend already changed. We had our low of 599, high of the bounce. Higher low was 643, and then the bull break to change the weekly trend was 780. So that happened a while ago, but looking for daily consolidation to look for a higher low compared to 698 with this big bearish reversal candlestick that's forming today. Apple event tomorrow. Thanks for the heads up. Could have some impact on the tech sector as a whole. MU, does the hourly trend show convincing temporary top? Not really. I would still consider this an hourly uptrend. Our last hourly higher low was 48.80, and we held that level by 6 pennies. If we see this hourly lower high and break 48.80, then we're in an hourly downtrend, and then it's convincing. But at this point, still a pattern of a higher low each day and still an hourly uptrend. This would need to be an hourly bear flag that confirms in order to get that follow through. So natural gas bulls closing at the high of the day, keeping their momentum in full control. Keeping in mind that all we have to do is look back historically on natural gas for things to get irrational. And we don't have to look far. So just remember that there was a time 1 year ago, less than that, 10 months ago, where RSI had absolutely no meaning on this commodity. And there were hedge funds that had their accounts blown up and they lost everybody's money because of what happened. So just be aware that the bulls can absolutely keep going. No matter what, pretty much that's the answer to the question. All we have to do is look back here and say, can the bulls keep going? The answer is yes. And until we lose the 4-hour uptrend, the bulls will have complete control. And we can anticipate that the next 4-hour consolidation that we see, we will look for a 4-hour higher low to form. TNX 162 did break. So now we're looking up at 172. I would not call this a clear daily trend change. We don't have a higher low and higher high. We came off of the bottom and it's a nice bounce, but I still need a clear and distinct higher low and higher high in order to say we are now in a daily uptrend. Weekly chart, anything under 2148 is just a weekly lower high. LMNR is a bull break with zero follow through, which is a bit concerning. Big bear volume. So Friday we broke resistance straight into a dump today. Weekly exponential resistance still giving the bulls some trouble. Daily chart key support is 1777, but the volume and the size of the pullback today, very big dump. So we can look for an hourly oversold bounce to try and hold 1777 support tomorrow. But this is one of those charts that's really choppy and does not show clarity to me at all. We have a daily trend change that went straight into a dump. We have a little daily trend change straight into a dump. So I don't like that aspect of the chart. I don't see a good one as far as QQQ inverse head and shoulders. This would be a very small little right shoulder. You could call it one, but I would just view this as a clear 5-minute downtrend with a higher low and a higher high, changing that trend. Maybe even a bit of a falling wedge. Look at where the volume occurred, right on that break. So the 5-minute trend change lined up with breaking the downtrend resistance on this 5-minute falling wedge. Little end of the day bull momentum, still not very significant. We'll see if SPY just gives us an hourly lower high into tomorrow. Natural gas correlation to oil. It's not really there on the daily chart, but it is there on the 4-hour. I would say for the last 2 weeks, there's been a pretty solid correlation. I'd say most recently, September 4th, that correlation got to be one of its strongest. So TLT 143.43, key short-term support is breaking. So the uptrend is breaking and weekly consolidation is underway. We're going to look for a weekly higher low compared to 129.68, and we'll be watching the exponential support that has held the last 2 periods of weekly consolidation. Oils gap and trap today in a big way. Tons of selling volume. 52 is key short-term support. I would not be surprised to see a monthly equilibrium. High, low, and if this is our monthly lower high, I would need to see a bear break of 52 to be convinced that our monthly lower high has been set, but just keeping an eye out. For something like that on the weekly chart. Bears need more follow through, but obviously a ton of profit taking today. When you have the highest volume day in many months, and it's pretty much all bears selling, it's definitely notable. Etsy's a weak bounce attempt. Have to be cautious of a daily bear flag at this point. Anything under 55.50 is just a daily lower high. The daily exponential resistance is coming down into play. So we changed the hourly trend, but we need more follow through. So far, so good. Good volume, good close at the high of the day. Need a green day tomorrow to try and negate the possible daily bear flag. Have to be skeptical of the bulls because the bears have been in control for the last 6 weeks. But looking good on the hourly so far. OH is having a nice close for the MJ sector. Netflix climbing on that hourly. Netflix is a doji on the daily. I care more about the details of this hourly chart. And the bulls want a bit more follow through, but we'll be watching for something like this. All depends on how the market starts tomorrow morning. KHC all bull hourly higher low is 27.40. Nope, 27.83. And 28.24 to get to the gap fill. That level is approaching. And the bulls have complete control. Just keeping in mind that the weekly time frame is a completely different picture than every other shorter term time frame. All shorter term time frames are all bulls, but anything under 33.25 is a weekly lower high. So just aware of the bigger picture. But as long as the hourly uptrend remains intact as it has, the bulls keep control. So hope you all have a good rest of your day. SPY bears are going to have to confirm the hourly downtrend with a lower high and lower low tomorrow on the hourly in order to see further daily consolidation. At this point, we are just continuing to see higher closes, not by much, but certainly no major red flags today. And something I've been saying a lot over the last 2 weeks is we have to see the financial sector change its daily trend if the S&P 500, if we're going to take it seriously, that it could hit all-time highs. And obviously the financial sector has done that in a big way over the last few days. That's about as convincing a daily trend change as you can get. QQQ, healthy consolidation so far. XLV is not giving us a convincing break yet, and neither is XBI. See you all tomorrow morning.